Welcome to the Bitcoin predictions for the month of September. This is not financial or investment advice. Welcome. I'm Jack. I'm an engineer gone crypto astrologer. On this channel, I combine technical analysis with astrology. Be aware of the spam bots in the comments below. Don't fall for any of those scams. Watch this video to the end, as the Bitcoin predictions will be at the end, and smash the like button to support the channel. Really appreciate it. And let's take a look at the previous predictions that I put out, as I'm all about integrity. Bitcoin predictions, we will likely get major volatility to start the month. You know, just like I was talking about with the Fed funds rate decision as well as the Trump tariffs, there's going to be a lot of volatility. It could go in either direction. It's very difficult to predict. But overall, it's looking pretty good. Bitcoin could have a local peak around August 10th is what I'm thinking. Or perhaps even later in the month, because we're getting so many positive transits, one after the other, even in the second half of August. Ethereum, in my opinion, is hinting at a further altcoin run. So that'll be very interesting to see if we can get that altcoin run in August. Would be very exciting. If in that case, I plan to take some profits. All right. So we did indeed get major volatility, and we got a local peak for Bitcoin close to August 10th. Let's go take a look at it. And then also we did get an altcoin run. So not too bad. It was very, very, very difficult to predict. I mean, if anyone can predict these markets with any sort of accuracy, it's very impressive because they are the most volatile markets in the world. Let's be honest. So when did Bitcoin get a local peak? It got it within 4 days of what I was saying. So here's August 10th. We got a local peak 4 days after my prediction there. So very, very close. I mean, not bad within 4 days, guys. We got that local peak there. And then we did get maximum volatility at the start of the month. We got a big dump right here. That was one of the predictions. Let's take a look at how much of a correction we got in August. That was like a nice 5% correction to start the month. And then from the previous peak, that was, let's see, about a 9% dump. And from then, just to have that maximum volatility, we got a pump all the way to, that's an 11% pump up there. Not bad. And then we did get a nice altcoin run. So let's look at total 2 for the altcoins. And we started the month of August back here. So right here, August 1st. Man, from the first of the month, we got 23% pump for altcoins. That's all the coins excluding Bitcoin. So very, very nice. And in August, we saw the Bitcoin dominance fall off. So starting the month of August was right around here. And man, look at this dump here. All right, so we did get that nice altcoin run. Ethereum was hinting at it. That's what I was mentioning, and we got it. Now, for the September general astrology, we have a grand trine. Now, this is a minor grand trine with Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus making positive trines and sextiles with each other. This is going to be the only time in our lives that we see this specific trine. So this is very, very powerful. Basically, Pluto's bringing major transformation to humanity. I mean, this is global. Neptune's bringing a spiritual revolution, so to speak. And Uranus is bringing in this rapidly evolving, accelerating new technology such as AI, crypto, the blockchain, all of these incredibly powerful technologies that's just going to change the planet as we know it, to change humanity. So the good thing is that they're making positive trines and sextiles. So this could be a very, very positive awakening for humanity. So actually extremely exciting. And this could be, in terms of crypto, pretty bullish for crypto overall in the long run. So this is not short term. I'm not talking about the next week, or I'm not even talking about the next month. I'm talking about decades from now. All right, so this is going to change the planet as we know it. Okay, so there's that as the backdrop. And then we have these a little bit more minor things happening. September 3rd, Mercury squaring Uranus. Mercury is the planet of trade, squaring Uranus, the planet of crypto and technology. So slight negative. Then Mars is squaring Jupiter. It's not a good time to be overly optimistic. That's slight negative there. September 5th, we have Uranus stationing retrograde. This is huge, guys, because when Uranus goes retrograde, we typically get a major market shift. Now, it doesn't give us the exact direction that the market is going to shift into, but it is looking, there's a lot of concerns here because we have the September total lunar eclipse. That's why I put my scared face on the thumbnail. You saw it, right? Because we have this total lunar eclipse. Typically with a total lunar eclipse, I want you guys to stop this video if you haven't seen my last video and go take a look at my previous video about the total lunar eclipse, because I went through all of the history of Bitcoin, and every time we had a total lunar eclipse, we had a crash. We had a major dump. We had major volatility. So big concerns there, major caution. That's why I've already taken some profits. All right, so I'll be telling you more at the end of this video, so stay tuned. September 12th, we have the Sun and Mercury sextiling Jupiter. So a bit of a positive there. I will definitely take that. We will take that for the markets. September 16th, we have Venus sextiling Mars, slight positive. Then September 17th, Mercury is opposing Saturn, Mercury, the planet of trade. Opposing Saturn, that can bring contraction, so slight negative there. September 18th through 19th, Mercury is trining Uranus and Pluto. We'll take that. That could be a bit positive, holding the market up a little bit. But then look at all these negatives we have. September 19th, 20th, and the 21st. Yikes. This is very concerning here, guys. We have Mercury opposing Neptune. Neptune can bring confusion into the markets. The Sun is opposing Saturn. Saturn can bring contractions, bring hard lessons in reality. And Venus is squaring Uranus. Venus, the planet of money, love, and what we value, squaring Uranus, the planet of crypto, could bring possibly a correction as well. But the big news, guys, is we have a partial solar eclipse opposing Saturn and Neptune. Because Saturn is conjunct Neptune still. That is major concern there because Neptune can bring confusion to the market. Saturn can bring tough lessons. And we're getting that partial solar eclipse. Now, it does have a minor trine to Uranus and Pluto, so slight positive there. We'll take that. But man, the Sun opposing Saturn and Neptune, that is a concern. So we could see another contraction, a correction potentially on September 21st. And this could last weeks, guys. It's not always a quick thing. It could either be a quick crash and a recovery. That would be good. Or it could be a really slow consolidation period. Or you could get a dump that lasts, a few weeks. But yeah, major concerns here, guys. This is why I took profits last month. Okay, September 23rd, we do have Sun trining Uranus and Pluto. So there could be a positive recovery around September 23rd, but definitely not guaranteed, as we also have the Sun opposing Neptune, which could bring more confusion into the mix. So this is quite a cocktail of astrology here. Let's look specifically at what transits the planets are making to the Bitcoin natal chart. So September 7th, we have Saturn sextiling the Bitcoin Jupiter. We will take that. Saturn can bring slow and steady growth to Bitcoin. Jupiter can bring expansion. September 9th, Jupiter, which can bring expansion, trining the Bitcoin Uranus, the planet of crypto and Bitcoin. So that's very positive on September 9th. September 25th, we have Jupiter sextiling the Bitcoin Saturn, which can bring slow and steady growth with Saturn there. Now, so it's very interesting that we're getting mostly positive transits with Bitcoin, which is good. So it could mean that perhaps the Bitcoin dominance is holding up well in the month of September. Perhaps Bitcoin is not getting any major dumps. It's certainly going to get volatility, but maybe it's more of a consolidation period. Anyways, we could have Bitcoin holding up pretty well compared to the altcoins. So it doesn't take out the fact, the possibility, not the fact. It doesn't take out the possibility that we could still get a correction with those two eclipses. This is the eclipse month, guys. It's going to be intense, as eclipses always are. The Bitcoin IBIT BlackRock ETF astrology. September 5th, we're getting Saturn sextiling the IBIT Pluto. That could bring, well, actually, that's overall positive. September 8th, we have Jupiter sextiling the IBIT Uranus. Jupiter can bring expansion. We'll take that. Now, it's interesting that this astrology to the BlackRock ETF for Bitcoin gets we get a couple negatives towards the second part of the month. So September 18th, Jupiter opposing the IBIT Sun, slight negative, and Jupiter opposing the IBIT Moon. And the Sun and the Moon are very sensitive areas on the chart. So this brings more weakness for Bitcoin the second half of September. So that's really interesting. Could we get more of a correction second half? It's possible. September ETHA astrology. So this is the BlackRock ETF for Ethereum. As we all know, these big dogs can move the market. September 3rd, huge concern for Ethereum, although it's holding up really well so far. Saturn is conjunct the ETHA Neptune. Huge negative. This is typically, we can get big dumps with this because Saturn can bring tough lessons and Neptune can bring confusion into the market. So with this being the Ethereum BlackRock ETF, we could see a contraction around September 3rd, give or take a few days. And that's right before the big total lunar eclipse on the 7th. So September 6th, we have Jupiter trining the ETHA Saturn. That's positive there. September 7th, we have Neptune trining the ETHA Sun. That's euphoric. Neptune can bring euphoria. So that's really tricky. We're getting like a huge negative on the 3rd, but then like kind of euphoria on the 7th. So I don't know. It's really tricky to predict. I really still think there's probably going to be some sort of a correction around the September 7th total lunar eclipse, as there has been historically pretty much every single time. And actually for Ethereum, every single time we've had a total lunar eclipse, we've either gotten a huge correction or a big long consolidation in a bear market. So definitely still a concern there. September 19th, we have Neptune sextiling the ETHA Pluto. So it's interesting that we're getting overall positive astrology in the after September 3rd for the Ethereum BlackRock astrology. Very interesting. So I am definitely going to be keeping my eye on September 3rd. And if Ethereum's around 4,000, maybe it goes even, I don't know, it could even go below. I'll see that as potentially a good buying opportunity. But I might also wait longer till September 7th, till we get past that total lunar eclipse to see what happens. Let's take a look at the charts now, shall we? If we look at the Bitcoin monthly chart, we got this big red candle last month in August. There was buying for Bitcoin all the way to 124, and that was definitely some euphoria there. Everybody got excited. And then the whales just dumped on us. Crazy. It must have been smart money just dumping on retail, as they do. Those bullies. And we dumped down to the month all the way to 107, but we recovered. Great recovery. We got to 108 at the end of the monthly close there. We are seeing a bit of an uptick for this month of September so far. We've gotten to 110. Interesting. It's interesting that August got such a red month that there's even a chance that, there's actually, I think, maybe a pretty good chance that September. Gosh, but given the eclipses, I was almost going to say it could end the month in green, but we'll have to see, man. It's very difficult to predict because we could get a big correction with these two eclipses, both of which are concerning. But man, could we even close the month in green? It's still possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but we'll have to see because we could get a dump, in either eclipse, to who knows, like 100. Could even get to 99K for Bitcoin. And it could be like a wick down, but if that gets bought up and we close the month green, that would be super bullish actually. I'm just going to say that would be a very bullish situation. Now it's really interesting concern here that on the total crypto market cap, look at this monthly candle that we got. Take a look at this red. I'm talking about this red candle. And now it looks really thin because we opened the month around 3.74 and then buyers bought all the way up to 4.18 trillion for the total crypto market cap. We got to 4.18 trillion. That's pretty good. But the problem is that we then got major selling action all the way down to 3.57. And then it got bought up and we finished the month in the red, slightly in the red, at 3.71 trillion. The main concern there is this is almost a textbook gravestone doji, which actually is a really bad sign, unfortunately, because we got all of, from the very peak here, we got all this selling action. And since the opening and the close are almost the same here, there was not, basically we got a lot of sellers. We got a lot of people selling, a lot of bears. And it was not able to close in the green for this month. But the fact that we got this huge wick up and then all that selling pressure is not good. It did get a little bit of buyers coming in here. This lower wick down here, it got bought up to 3.72 trillion or so. So it's not actually a textbook gravestone doji. Textbook gravestone doji would be if there was no wick, little to no wick at the bottom. So it's good that we got some buyers coming in for the month of August. But man, overall, this is quite bearish. So that's actually a huge concern, because the last time we had a candle like this, if we go back into the history books, doesn't this candle look pretty close? I'll have to clean this up a little bit. Look at this candle right here. And this was the November 2021 bull market peak. And then the sellers came in dumping their bags. Basically, smart money was dumping their bags on the dumb money. So big concern there. The main difference that, comparing 2021 to where we are now is there was extreme greed entering the market. And we arguably haven't seen that yet. I mean, given the fact that if we look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, yesterday we got 46. We got a little bit of fear, and today we got neutral. But, back towards the, if we go back to August, we were not getting extreme greed. We were getting 75. So we were getting some greed. 75 is, I think, over here. But it was not extreme greed. So that's good, because if we, comparing it to 2021, there was higher levels of greed in the market. We got like 70, we got up to 82 and 77 there. Let's see. So we had a little bit more greed in the market back in 2021. And also we were not getting major, in August, we weren't getting major upticks in the Coinbase app. Typically, when dumb money's running into the market, I don't even like to use that term, but when like more inexperienced investors are running into the market, we see the Coinbase App Store popularity jump up like crazy, and we haven't seen that yet. Oh shoot, that's actually here's Coinbase in the yellow. As we got an uptick in July, but it was only 63. So typically we got to get in like the top 10, like we did back in December, to show that inexperienced investors are really jumping into the market. But August, we really didn't see any of that. I mean, and right now it's at, what is it ranked right now? Only 339. So very, very far from the top 10. So we got a lot of work to do. We're still not in euphoria in the market yet. Another thing to keep our eyes on is the ISM Purchasing Managers Index. We're going to get a new reading on this in about, 9 hours from now. So 9 hours from now, we're going to see if we get a reading that's an uptick, or if we're going to continue down. If we go up, that could be very good, because the last time we got a nice move up was arguably October 2024. That's when crypto got a huge run on the Trump winning the U.S. election. And before that, we could go back to July 2023. I think it did okay. But even November, December 2023, the market went up quite a bit. Or the crypto market did really well then. So if we get a nice uptick for this in the next 9 hours, that could actually pump crypto. But if it gets a reading down, that's not going to be good. We could get more of a correction for September, which would line up with kind of the intensity of these total lunar eclipse, this total lunar eclipse on the 7th. Now, Mars is still in Libra, and typically Bitcoin does well when Mars is in Libra. We've been seeing it doing well overall, at least since July, and it's been going down a bit recently, but around the end of September, it does go into Scorpio, and it does not do very well in Scorpio. So, a little bit more indicator there that we could be having further correction for Bitcoin. For the Bitcoin seasonality, September is historically the worst year for Bitcoin and for the macro market. So definitely not a very exciting month. That's why I took some profits. I have some cash so I could buy the dip. What are you planning on doing? Let me know in the comments below. And the Fed funds rate decision we have on September 17th. Really interesting that this is a few days from the solar eclipse that is opposing Saturn and Neptune, bringing potential confusion into the markets, potential hard lessons in reality. So not looking super great for the Fed's fund rate decision. Who knows what's going to happen, but anything could happen. They could continue to pause. It might not be very good news. We shall see, but the astrology is not looking super great. So it's tricky to say. We do have that solar eclipse, but then Bitcoin's getting overall positive astrology, so very difficult. But hey, actually gold and silver are doing pretty well. So I actually added a bit more to my silver position. Could take a look at that really quick. We look at silver on the monthly scale. It actually, if we zoom in on the month of August, we actually closed the month of August above this wick of the previous month of July. We closed above that. So that's been the highest monthly close for silver in a long time, ever since, really August 2011. So, man, it looks like we're starting to get a breakout here for silver. So that's why I added to my position. We shall see what happens. I'm not an expert with gold and silver, but the chart's looking good, so I'm going with it. If we look at the global liquidity index with a 108-day offset, it's interesting that it is continuing to go up. So if we do get any corrections in September, it might not be that deep. Especially, it might not be very deep compared to previous times we've had total lunar eclipses. Take a look at my previous video to see all of the corrections that I talked about. Take a look at these blue lines. These are when we had total lunar eclipses. Bitcoin had bear markets when we had these blue lines, or major dumps. As you can see right here, it's a little hard to see. Let's go back to 2018. We got these blue lines. That was the bear market. We get 3 blue lines, 3 total lunar eclipses in that year. We get a massive bear market. Even all the way back to 2015, 2014, we get these blue lines, bear market. Okay. Now, it's not guaranteeing that we're getting a bear market now, particularly since, especially since we haven't gotten much euphoria in the market. But if we do, that'll be a major concern. And also the fact that we had a total lunar eclipse back in March, and look at the dump that we had, but we got a big recovery. And that hasn't happened, really since 2010. Because typically when we get these blue lines, we get a bear market. So good news is that we have not already gone into a bear market, kind of like 2011 back here with those total lunar eclipses. But perhaps the others, altcoins, the crypto market cap, excluding the top 10 coins, have not been doing so well as they did back in 2021. So perhaps these coins are almost in a bear market. I wouldn't say a bear market because they are in an overall uptrend still, but man, they've been getting beat down pretty good. Looking at this global liquidity line versus Bitcoin, it's been, it's definitely, as we can see, it's on an uptrend. And it's definitely not 100% aligned. We got a correction in June for Bitcoin, and it was actually going up here. So we could play around with different offsets. But, now Bitcoin's got a correction. It did show a little bit of downswing here I mean, it's not 100% correlated with this line, but I mean, the global liquidity is still going up arguably to October, maybe even November with a different offset. And then it actually kind of tops out there so far. And so far, the global liquidity isn't showing a further uptick, with the data we have so far, but we will have to see in the weeks ahead. So once again, this is not 100% correlated, but it's good to see that the global liquidity is still potentially on an uptrend, but we'll have to see if Bitcoin and crypto are going to continue to follow that or not. Now I want to show you this very important chart. This is the global M2 year-over-year percent with a 3-month lead, and compared to the Bitcoin year-over-year percent. Bitcoin is the red chart here, and it hasn't been updated actually, but you see the black line, the global liquidity, is going up and up and up towards Q4, and Bitcoin has been doing pretty well as well. So similarly, it's looking pretty good. It looks like we could have further upside to go. We'll have to see. And then also, if we look at this GMI weighted global city economic versus inflation surprise index 5-month lead versus Bitcoin, this is just skyrocketing at the end of 2025. So that is looking quite good. The last time we had that happen was the end of 2020 when Bitcoin broke out to a new all-time high, leading into 2021 where we got a massive, massive altcoin run. So that is looking quite good on the macro scale. And then it's interesting on this chart we have here, which is the S&P 500 20-year cycle from Jason Pizzino. And, it's showing a bit of a dump in September, but a bigger dump in the final part of September. So perhaps it's possible that we could get a bigger dump with the solar eclipse that is opposing Saturn and Neptune, which I would not count out because Saturn can bring those tough lessons in reality. Neptune can bring confusion. So that's not looking good for the 20-year averages for the S&P 500, which could spill into crypto. If you haven't already, please subscribe to receive critical crypto and astrology updates. Just smash that subscribe button. And a quick announcement, the Crypto Astro Awakening Retreat happening November 1st through 7th. Got to let you guys know about this. Keep telling you about it. And so by November 2025, we could see one of the biggest crypto bull runs. Looking at those charts that we were just looking at, if it continues to follow the global liquidity, this could be very good for crypto, especially after the month of September. So this retreat is perfectly timed for you to maximize your profits towards the market peak. You'll get all of these high value things. I listed all here and in the link below. So look below the video and click the link to the page, and you'll get all of the information about this retreat. Nourishing gourmet meals, sacred spring water baths, an optional healing session with a Balinese healer, and optional channeling and spiritual guidance from my wife and myself. And you'll get excursion to Bali's most magical sites, group calls with me before the retreat. If you feel the call, definitely click the link below to get all the information. Only $150 deposit to save your spot. Definitely secure your spot before I decide to raise the price, because this is an incredible deal. And once you purchase with your deposit, you will get to book a one-on-one peak profit session with me. And in this session, I'll dive deep into your mindset and your strategy for this crypto bull run so you can take profits towards the market peak. Many people in the last bull run got euphoric at the market peak and they decided to hold their bags, and they held all the way through a bear market. They saw all of their hard-earned gains. They thought they had millions, but you're not actually going to secure those profits if you don't take those profits. Pretty common sense, but most people don't do it because people get so excited towards the market peak, and then they hold on for their dear life, and they hold and they see their portfolio shrink by 90%. That's what happens in this crazy volatile crypto market. So don't be one of those people. Don't make a horrific mistake like most people did in the last bull run. Secure those profits and get that session with me to secure your strategy to do that. Only 4 more spots left. Register now to claim your spot and ride the 2025 wave with clarity, strategy, and sold. Now, what you've been waiting for, the Bitcoin predictions. So, major volatility to start the month. We're seeing that. We have this total lunar eclipse, big concern there. So, likely dumps, or in the best case, a consolidation around September 7th and September 21st. We have that solar eclipse. Big concern there, too, especially we just looked at the S&P 500 averages, where typically the S&P 500 doesn't do so well second part of September. If that's the case, that'll spill over into crypto and dump the crypto market with, in the same time of that solar eclipse. All right, so share this video if you got value from it. Share it with a friend or family member who resonates with crypto and astrology. The open-minded people. Those are my people. Definitely subscribe if you haven't done so already. Definitely support the channel by doing that. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.